Well, this is an important gathering, in part because we have one of the great leaders of our nation here, a member of the President's Cabinet. You're going to hear from the former governor of Kansas and the President Secretary of Health in a second. But it's an important gathering also for the coalition because this is an anniversary of sorts. So you've been doing this for a few years, and I was there at the very beginning in 1997. That's right. So it's good for us to be together again. It's an anniversary of sorts because we're now in the 10th year of our work together on Gear Up in all of your school districts around the country and some 50 states and in our 3 territories. And 10 million young people later, some $4.5 billion, we have seen an extraordinary level of achievement through Gear Up. None of that would have been able to be done without Ira and many of the partners in this room. And for that, I am grateful for your work with me on that. But the mayor is correct that Turner and Sayre and the notion of community schools were invented, if you would, almost by University of Penn and Ira Harkavy, and over these many years. Even though I know in your own cities and your own school districts, you have done remarkable work, we know that the very best work that is going to be done on this subject is not yet done. And that's why you gather now to look at best practices, to think about the way forward. I want to thank Ira for his leadership and to, I think, the greatest president our university has ever had, University of Pennsylvania, Amy Gutmann, whose academic work is in urban, on urban affairs and issues, but has really put the power of the university focused at the needs of the community here in our city. Penn has done a remarkable job with great leadership in our president and in Ira. Give them a big round of applause. Now, I'm going to stop speaking in a second because it's my wedding anniversary, and I'm going to be leaving. So it's a lot of different anniversaries all at once. But we have an administration in Washington now with a unique commitment to education, $100 billion plus in the stimulus. Embedded in the healthcare reform bill, another 60 plus billion devoted to educational opportunities. In the president's budget, where the president says that those stimulus dollars, even though that was an historic investment, was just the very beginning of what this president intends to do in terms of putting education at the front burner of our nation's agenda. We are at a historic moment in our country, but we will miss this moment if we don't embed in all of this reform work the work that you have been involved in. That is making schools the center of community activities. Not just the place for kids to go for a few hours a day, but it should be the place where we can have health care, where we can have library access and recreational access and other youth-serving organizations being able to interact with our young people so that we can, if we're going to build the support we need for schools, we're going to have to make schools be the anchor in our communities. And so there's so much for all of us to learn from what you've done. I know that the Secretary of Health, who has an enormous task in front of her, implementing the healthcare reform bill, looks to partner with all who are engaged, particularly with our young people, because we need to get young people headed in the correct direction, not just in terms of their minds, but in terms of their bodies. And their health is connected inextricably with their educational opportunities long term. So our mayor has done an extraordinary job in our city. I'm glad you've come. We want you to spend money while you're here, help our local economy, enjoy our historic sites, but do the important work that Ira and his team have laid out for you. Thank you very much.